I'm really pleased to be joined on Not the Andrew Marr Show by Shireen Awwad, who's the Director of Outreach and Development at Bethlehem Bible College and was part of Reconciliation as a peace activist. Thank you for agreeing to speak all the way from Bethlehem, Shireen. How are you doing?
Yes, hello again, and thank you for hosting me. What a pleasure to be able to send the voice of a Christian, a woman, a Palestinian, all the way to your part of the world.
Yeah, and we spoke on this show a couple of weeks ago to Pastor Munther Isaac, and he came over to this country the weekend. He was here speaking at the demonstration in London, very big demonstration. And we've seen his fantastic speech, and he was well received. But then yesterday we had this story in the papers. I'll just show you this the headline. Pastor says Welby would not meet him if he spoke at Palestine rally with Corbyn. Archbishop said he could not meet Pastor Lutheran Munther Isaac if he shared platform with former Labour leader. Isaac said. The Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, cancelled plans to meet the Bethlehem-based Lutheran Pastor Munther Isaac, saying he could not meet him if he shared a platform with Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, he's when I spoke to him 2 weeks ago, not in the interview, I asked him to talk about the Archbishop of Canterbury's response, and he said to me, "I won't say anything about that because I'm hoping to meet him, and I don't want to prejudice that happening." So he was aware that he had to tread on eggshells in a sense before he could meet him. Then just by appearing on a platform, he wasn't holding his hand, he wasn't holding Jeremy Corbyn's hand and showing solidarity. He just happened to be on the same platform as him. He's not being allowed an audience with him. What do you feel about that?
Yes, well, first of all, I salute Dr. Reverend Munther Isaac for his courage and his outspoken. And I really respect the fact that he will say the truth and nothing but the truth. In a situation like this, the situation of Palestine and Israel, and the situation of Gaza nowadays is very, very sad and horrific. And every chance we get to talk about the situation in hopes to cease fire, we do that. And unfortunately, it was for Munther, Dr. Munther, it was for either or. And in such situation, it shouldn't be either or. He who wants to know and he who wants to stand in solidarity with the innocent people, with the children of Gaza who are slaughtered on daily basis, then we're there, then we're present. And it was like a conditional visit with the bishop. And therefore, if there is like points to Munther where he should be careful on this and careful on that and speak to this and not speak to that, I don't think Munther is such a character. Munther is an outspoken priest. He's very well respected in the community. He sees and he says what he sees. We need people to stand in solidarity with an innocent people of Palestine, especially the people of Gaza. So I understand where it comes from when Munther said, if it's either or, then I'm not willing to actually stand that side. And I know for sure, later on, the coming days, there will be more statements on that issue.
Yeah, I mean, you yourself have met the Pope, haven't you? Which that's an incredible thing to have done. I mean, what happened when you met him?
Well, when we met the Pope, it was the beginning of war. We first even stated it was war, but now, my friend, I don't even call it war. It's genocide, and it has to be stated clearly. So when we met the Pope Francis, His Holiness Pope Francis, we really had high expectations for ceasefire. We were hoping this will end soon because he also was aware of the situation in Palestine, especially in Gaza, because his parish is actually in Gaza. So he used to call and still calls the priest of the Latin parish church there every single day to double check on the people. And when we were there in the Vatican, he even stated, making such a statement where he said, innocent people should not pay the price. He said, this is slaughtering and this is genocide. And when we did the press conference and we said this is what Pope Francis said, even the press of the Vatican was very resentful They said, no, 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 he didn't say such a thing. So our problem nowadays, and it has been since the war took place, October 7th, even before, the stand of the believers worldwide has not become something that we're really proud of. You know, what happened so far? Every single day, Pope Francis, His Holiness Pope Francis, stands at the Vatican and says how hurtful it is, you know, for all these people to die. Especially, he emphasizes on the Christian community. You know, a few months back also, two of the parish members, a lady and her mom, were actually killed by snipers. He went and he said in the Vatican Hall, the big, you know, a square, he said, you know, this is wrong. They have been killed and they killed by snipers. But the problem is, what has been done so far? Nothing. And this is why we're really very, very disappointed of the general view of the church, let's say, and let's not specify which church, because unfortunately, not so many people are really standing in solidarity with what's called the innocent.
Wow, yeah. I mean, the Catholic Church and the Church of England have both been trying to sound right, but not actually doing much about it. Yeah, so it must be very difficult for you as a Christian as to see that. I mean, how do you feel as a Christian?
It's hard, bro. It breaks my heart. I tell you why. Imagine a believer, a well-known, you know, church leader comes to Israel and visits the settlers and the settlements and prays over the missiles, or prays over the party where, you know, Netanyahu is there, meets with Netanyahu, prays with Netanyahu, and then, you know, justify it, you know, they're trying to protect, you know, the nation or the Jewish nation. But in reality, you know, I cannot understand how you can do this in the name of the Bible, because this is absolutely wrong. This is a massacre. So we're very much heartbroken. When the church, actually not the church, they had the chapel, when the hospital was hit in Gaza, and it's actually supported by the Anglican Church, what did we hear from the Archbishop? Nothing. Nothing. And there was a chapel in there. There were people in there, over 500 people killed. And we're taken by surprise. Why should we stop, or why should we justify the killing, stating that everybody, it's like saying, you know, you're generalizing, or you're doing what's called a collective punishment, and they have nothing to be ashamed of. You know, a collective punishment, so we're all punished for an act. And that itself is corruption. You need to understand that there were also people, the indigenous people of the land were also there in Gaza. My mother comes from Gaza, and my uncles and aunts live in Gaza, and I'll tell you more about that story. And I lost an aunt and an uncle because of the war on the church in Gaza. And the church, the Greek Orthodox Church, is estimated to be 1,300 years old. So we're talking about something that has been there for so long. It's not all people who actually come to Gaza are immigrants. That's one. So having the right to just wipe out people or expel people and say, well, you've been immigrants, then you can become again a refugee somewhere else, is very wrong to say, and they have no right to say such. And if we want to answer back, we would say, oh, if these people are actually, and some of them are, many of them are, then why can't we bring them back to the 1948 and 1967? And the answer would be no. So imagine the frustration that we have.
I mean, so that church that you're describing is older than Westminster Abbey, yes. which is quite amazing to consider for anyone, for someone like Welby, for example. So what can you tell us about this history of Christianity in Gaza?
Let's just go to the age of the church that was established there. That means there were people there, there were Christians there, and I don't think there were only Christians there. There definitely were also Muslims there. So if you even come to Bethlehem, if we talk about Christianity started here, you know, no one can actually debate and argue with me and say, oh, when did you convert? No, we are the indigenous people of this land. where the Christians, if you come to Bethlehem, for example, and you see the Nativity Church and other places, the biblical sites, you would understand that we have been here long time ago. Now, we just believe that what's happening now is actually ethnic cleansing. To us as Christians, we're concerned of the whole well-being of the Palestinian people, that's for sure, but we're also concerned that people would just leave and become immigrants elsewhere, in other countries. And to be honest with you, I do not want one day to be forced to.
So you have family in Gaza then as well. Are they in Gaza now?
Yes. Unfortunately, I lost two. October 17th, when the church was hit, the Greek Orthodox Church was hit, I lost my aunt. My other aunt was sitting next to her, and she was severely injured. And she had to undertake surgery, and the missile just, what came out of the bombing hit her hip, so she had to do hip replacement. She was sent to the Al Ahli Hospital, which is the Anglican hospital, and she was there 24 hours waiting to be, to do surgery. And unfortunately, they could not find anesthesia to do surgery for her. So she was actually operated. She was operated without anesthesia. She did hip replacement with no anesthesia. She's still now in Gaza. She's handicapped. She doesn't have the basic nutritional needs for her to actually build bones and to be well. And she's now in a senior home into the premises of the Latin Church. The next month, after October 17th, the following month, my uncle had an appendix and it exploded. It gave him only 1 week because he was not operated. There were no way of them even sending him to a hospital, and he died. Now, and my aunt, who was next to the aunt that did the hip replacement, also died instantly because, the whole wall actually came on her. So it's very devastating. Imagine the situation that my mom lives in now. And even people have the guts to say, oh, we don't think there are Christians there, or we don't think, innocent people are killed and so on. It's very, very obvious. I'm telling you from a personal story. We cannot even reach my uncle and my aunt who are still there with their families. And by the way, I have cousins and they have children that are still in Gaza, hoping to leave because of the situation. Now Gaza is in its worst nightmares nowadays. The food has become rare. We're not only talking about missiles and shooting and bombing and so on. We're talking about hunger. We're talking about disease that people are dying as a result of, and that itself is a catastrophe. And therefore, we cannot just call it, oh, it's just conflict or it's just war. No, it is genocide and it is ethnic cleansing.
So where are they in Gaza? Are they in Rafah, or are they?
Yes, most of the Christians in Gaza lost their homes. If we want to know the number of Christians, unfortunately, they're less than 1,000. In the Greek Orthodox Church, there is about 250 people reside there. In the Latin Church, about 600 something. We have about 50 individuals all over trying to get next to the Rafah borders to leave, but of course Rafah border is closed now. After the bombing of the church, 10 people were killed afterwards because of the different, reasons like disease and so on, and not having an access to medical aids. So as I said, they're still scattered in different places. Most of the Christians chose to become refugees in the church, the church as their refuge, because they're afraid to be alone, or they're afraid to be in their homes. Those who actually did not lose their homes. 58, if I'm not mistaken, 58 homes are completely destroyed. Nothing you can see out of those, and a few tents that are not good to live in.
So there's a lot of people sheltering in the churches.
Yes,
there in Gaza,
yeah.
and the food. Do they have supplies at all? How do
Well,
are they?
well, that's also another problem, with food nowadays. That's why I said it's in its worst scenario. Nowadays, the food is so rare. They eat almost every day, and they might run out of it. And that's the storage of the church, meaning that's even like a VIP 5 stars hotel in comparison to those who are living in tents. And
Yeah.
of course, we sympathize with those as well. They eat rice, macaroni, and they eat canned food. And nowadays they're running out of those as well. And if some areas in Gaza, if they have food, the amount that they have has become rare and small. And also the prices have been rocketing because it is something that everybody wants. So we're also concerned that it would be also what's called internal conflict and struggle and fight for food. And how can you blame people for that? If you're starving someone, then definitely this person would do anything to actually survive and his family.
It's horrific.
It is. It is. I don't know how much it is in pounds, but we can do the calculation really quick. If you buy, a can or like a bucket of eggs, 30 eggs, are worth 150 shekels. In pounds, it would be, if a pound is 5 shekels, that means, every egg is about 1 pound. Before it actually, the price not even doubled, it actually multiplied by 5. That tells you how much the food has become so expensive, and not so many people have money if none of them actually have access to money whatsoever.
So, do you think that Israel will not target those churches? Is there any? Are you worried that has Israel got any respect for the churches?
Unfortunately, I have no what's called trust with Israel or in Israel at all. They said they won't, but then they hit the church, and it's not by mistake. They said they not, and they were snipers who just killed a mother and her daughter. They said they're not, but then they closed the humanitarian aids that would come to the church, even to the church. They would say not, but then the church, the Christian hospital that we know is a Christian hospital, and there is no way that we will have Hamas tunnels under the hospital, and was completely hit. Now the hospital functions, by the way, in full capacity, but do you know as what? It functions as an emergency unit, not as a hospital, proper hospital with people. People are kicked out of hospitals. If we get to the point where the military is kicking people out of the hospital, and also, not providing what's called oxygen or any devices that are needed for a hospital for any human that is actually sick or in pain, then, what's left? Humanity is in what's called in a coma. There is no other way or other explanation that I can give. I wish I have other explanation to say. I wish I can say, someone is privileged over another. There is no privilege. When the court took place and everybody, the Palestinians, were excited about it. I'm sorry I'm doing all these things together and really quick. But when they did so, we were hoping that there would be ceasefire. The next day, Israel boycotts the UN and most European countries, without questioning, they boycott the UN without even getting a proper investigation on the matter, because they also boycott right at the same time that Israel said, oh, they are affiliated with Hamas. Imagine how horrific that is. And most of the people of Gaza, 1.7 million, are displaced, going all the way into Rafah area, where Rafah now is subjected to be hit. Most of these people are mothers, fathers, children, babies, and so on. So, what else can we say? What else can we explain? How can people understand that this is, even if you don't want to be part of any political party, which I'm not, as Shireen, for example, if you look at things from the human side of things, you cannot justify, you have no right, you have no right to justify a killing of another person. We're all, as a Christian, we're all created in the image of God. That means there is no one who's above us. There is no one who's better than us. We're all equal. We're created in the image of God. Does Israel see that? That's the question we have to ask people.